So let's take a look at the double entry rules for accounting. So there are 4 major rules that we need to know. So the first one is if asset or expense increases, we debit it. So that equals a debit. If an asset or expense decreases, we credit it. Now, if a liability, revenue, or owner's equity increases, we credit that. So it's the opposite of the asset and the expense. And lastly, if our liability, revenue, or owner's equity decreases, we debit it. So in order to apply these rules effectively, you really need to have a good understanding of the accounting equation. So if we take the first example of the advertising expense of $400, we should take a look at the accounting equation effect and then have a look at that and compare it with the double entry rules. So with this advertising expense, our asset of bank would go down by $400 and our advertising expense would go up by $400. So if you follow the double entry rules for that, you'll notice that we should be crediting our bank and we should be debiting our expense. So if you take a look at the next transaction of drawings of $400, we'll notice that for our accounting equation, our bank asset will go down by $400 and our drawings, which is actually a negative owner's equity, would go up by $400. In terms of debit credit, we can see that if an asset goes up, we debit it, and if an asset goes down, we credit it. So in this first instance, we should be crediting our bank asset. For drawings, we notice that if an owner's equity goes up, we credit it, but since it's a negative owner's equity, we do the opposite, so we debit it. So now let's say we're purchasing a car valued at $10,000. So our car asset would go up by $10,000 and our bank asset would go down by $10,000. So this is like a twofold effect of the accounting equation. So if an asset goes up, we should debit it, and if a bank goes down, we should credit it since it's an asset. So if an asset goes up, we debit it, and if an asset goes down, we credit it. These rules are really important for accounting and form the foundation for any work you do in the future. So it's really important that you start to remember these rules.